It's like that Facebook profile picture right now with the Mets. It's not a good Friday. The Mets are giving us nothing to smile about right now as they were spanked. They were swept in the city of brotherly love. There was no love. It was the brotherly shove. It was the tush push. And,
Hmm.
the Mets were the
Pause.
Eagles' offensive line and the Phillies were Jalen Hurts. And we were just getting pushed over. Welcome to Mets Daily. I'm Jake Brown at Jake Brown Live. It's our monthly visit with my former co-host Nelson Figueroa of Pix 11 New York Sports Nation Nightly. Follow him on Twitter at FiggyNY. That's all I could say at this point. It's just like a deep sigh because this team, Figgy, is showing no life, and I think it's a good time to have you on. Not because it's showing no life, but because 2008 you were part of collapse part deux, even though it was a mini collapse, and that team did finish 89 wins, which in today's era would get you in the playoffs. Then there was only one wild card. You lost to the Brewers by a game. CC Sabathia, they had 90 wins. You had 89. Brutal. But the reality is it feels, everyone's talking about 07, 08, this team if they don't make it. Do you have any, are you sleeping okay at night, or are you having any nightmares over there?
I'm trying to say that history won't repeat itself, right? Because it wasn't just then. The '06 team made it to the playoffs, and the way that they finished out, the curveball heard around the world, with Donald Trump in attendance, of course, standing there watching Beltran take that pitch. That was '06 how it ended. '07 was that major collapse. '08 was the mini collapse. And those teams were poised to do things, the dynasty type things because of how well they were put together. The team played well together. You had Cy Young Award winners, you had all stars, you had a team that was built to, for the long haul. And we thought the same thing with this Mets team, especially the way that they started. I think that's what happens. It's great expectations, right? You think, wow, they didn't have Mania. Wow, they didn't have Senga the whole first half. You're saying, man, when this team gets put all together and Soto wakes up, wow, what the possibilities are endless because this team's just going to hit its stride. They've been able to do and play winning baseball without clicking on all cylinders, without Mark Vientos being Mark Vientos of last year, without the young guns that we saw just a year ago helping this team get to the playoffs. And then you sit back and you're saying, whoa, whoa, whoa. Is reality really the last 50 games, or was it the first half of the season of what we saw up until, June 13th? As of June 13th, it hit the skids. It's almost eerily similar. Wasn't it Grimace, June 14th, the pitch heard around the world that changed the Mets' fortunes, the OMG movement, all the fun that season was? You don't see that this year, right? Remember, we used to talk about the Yankees and how the Mets were having fun and just playing fun, winning
It
baseball.
was
And
June
you know,
12th. June 12th.
June 13th is when they started to go down. So right around the same time.
Yes.
So no Grimace this year, no OMG this year. Everything was, hey, methodical. We've got this. Everything's right in front of us. Seemed very Yankee-like in the businessman approach to how this season was going to play out. And this is what we're getting, right? We're getting a feel of status quo. This is just going through the motions and no changes being made, no one stepping up in a way. And we even inject the fusion of young gun pitching. Generation was this V now for victory. I don't even know what generation we're in, but you look at the three young pitchers who have come up and they pitch fantastic. And yet the Mets don't score when they pitch. So now they have the Grom syndrome going into that. It's just been bad baseball for far too long. You're talking about pitching to an ERA of 4.93, which is the 24th best in all of baseball in the second half. The pitching lab, don't want to hear about it. It doesn't work during the season. You can't fix things during the season. It's great for off-season training. It's great for spring training as you get ready for the season. But as the season goes along and teams make adjustments to what you're able to do, and you don't have anybody who's the ace of the staff that says, you know what, give me the ball. I got at least 8 in me tonight. We haven't seen that from anyone. McLean has been the closest thing that we've seen, and that's because he's going one time through the league right now, right? And he's got plus stuff. I'm excited. But this was supposed to look a lot different than it is. And Panic City, No, this isn't Panic City. It's more of a gut check reality moment after you just got pummeled in Philadelphia. How do you get up off the mat, and what do you do to finish out this season strong?
You know what generation this is? Generation L. It is Generation L for loser. That's the generation we're in. They're
This is
5 games over 500. What happened to the fantasy story that we had in June? And here's a big problem. You mentioned about, Grimace and OMG. People want to laugh about that, and I get it. Iglesias hasn't had a good year in San Diego, but he brought the team together. JD
yeah.
Martinez brought the team together. They have no leadership. Brandon Nimmo didn't even speak in the team meeting, and he's been here the longest. And here's the problem with Brandon Nimmo. He's under contract, a contract that Billy Epler gave him that David Stearns would have never gave him. And I'm not saying he's an issue, but when you talk about the offseason ahead maybe and having to make big changes, he's an untradeable contract. Francisco Lindor, Juan Soto, untradeable contracts. You probably don't want to trade those guys anyway.
Right.
You got to start thinking. I said it in here. Pete Alonso, sayonara. Jeff McNeil, sayonara. I mean, there has to be changes and big ones. And obviously, Pete would be the biggest of the big. And he is the biggest one of them, too, in terms of weight and size. So it's just, I don't think they have a voice to rally them. And Carlos Mendoza said last night, it's on me. I'll get us going. But will he? He's a robot. And I know a lot of people disagree with my tweet last night, but the reality is if they miss the playoffs, you have to consider firing him. And I don't think it's his fault this season. I think it's on the players, but you can't fire, all these players. There's guys who aren't going to come back.
Fire them all.
Yeah, I mean, Helsley, obviously not coming back, free agent. Mullins, obviously not coming back, free agent. Ryan Stanek, obviously not coming back, free agent. Those guys we don't even need to mention because, don't let the door hit you on the way out. But I hate to be the revolving team with, every 2 years a new manager. But Buck Showalter won 101 games. Next season, he got let go. This team, the second year of Mendoza is not going to end up being as bad as Buck's second year. But remember, they also traded away everyone Buck's second year, and he was left with Rafael Ortega playing center field. So he wasn't put in the best position. Mendoza's been put in a pretty cozy position. And I know David Stearns, everyone wants to put him on the hot seat, but we got to live in reality. GMs aren't fired every 2 years. Managers are. And, I mean, I know you like Mendoza. I like him too. I don't think they should fire him, but somebody's got to be held accountable if they miss the playoffs. Do you agree or disagree?
Yes, and it won't be him. It'll be the hitting coaches. Could possibly be. I don't even know if it's the hitting coaches because in their last 50 games, if you go and flip the tail on the other side, right? We complained about the hitting in the first half, and it was all the pitching that had them in the winning position that they were. 20 games over 500. Now you look in the second half, they're the third best hitting team in baseball. It doesn't feel like that, but the numbers are the numbers, right? It's based on statistics. Talking about as far as offensive WAR, the Mets are the third best hitting team in baseball during the second half. So they've woken up. Juan Soto, 30-30 player, possibly flirting with 40 home runs and trying to get to 100 RBIs. There's a lot of good things that have happened on the offensive side, but it has not equated to winning baseball. Why? Because when they have leads, they've blown leads consistently. And when they revamped the bullpen that was supposed to make it just lights out elite bullpen, the talk was possibly the best bullpen in all of baseball. Helsley said, "Hold my beer. Watch this. 102 miles an hour with a 90-mile-an-hour slider can go from unhittable to batting practice in the blink of an eye. And if you tell me tipping it's not a big deal, it's absolutely a big deal. When they're a two-pitch pitcher and they can sit on one thing and not the other, they can gear up for that 101. They can gear up for the 89-mile-an-hour slider that doesn't get off the plate or down or out of the zone. You're seeing a lot of faults, and there's a reason why he wasn't the same pitcher with the Cardinals this year that he was the year prior when he saved 49 games, most in the National League. So we can't fault the front office for trying. We can't fault the front office for saying, hey, Mullins he turned it a corner, was fantastic in his last 15 games, was hitting the ball great, and then he comes here and you're platooning him right out the start because trying to acclimate him, get him comfortable, whatever the reasoning may be. And now he's a super part-time player because now you're thinking series in the mix, and when Taylor comes back, what happens? So there's a lot of moving pieces that it seemed like they were the right moves at the right time, but nothing is working out, and it stems from one thing and one thing only. And I will die on this hill. You cannot have starting pitchers going 5 innings or less. You cannot. You're banking on these relievers being perfect for the remainder of the game, which is 12 outs, right? You're talking about 12 big outs. You're talking about 12 outs with runners in scoring position. You're talking about 12 outs. If they go into the sixth inning, they're leaving 2 guys on. And not once. Reed Garrett was unbelievable the first half. Brazoban, unbelievable the first half. And then all of a sudden, these one-trick ponies are getting exposed because they're out there too many times. How many guys have put on Mets uniform and pitched? For the love of God, Figueroa is available if you need him because they put anybody in a uniform and have him pitch. So I'm not understanding the usage and how you're getting these starters to 5 innings and they're exhausted. They look exhausted. For guys who are only pitching 5 innings, they look exhausted. It looks so tedious to get through 5. It doesn't have that. I am the dominant pitcher here. If I know I'm going 5 innings, why am I throwing my full arsenal to every single hitter, every single at bat? And I'm spent. Every at bat is a 3-2 toss up, and whether I'm going to go slider or change up in a fastball situation. Look at Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes, it looks like he's in the ninth round of a heavyweight championship bout after inning 2. He is just wheel spinning, and not that he doesn't have tremendous stuff, but these guys all look like they're spent and they're not being pushed in a way that leads by example. The 5 starters were supposed to lead by example. They're supposed to be the guys that say, I want the ball. Let me go back out there. Like they're so ready to, I gave it all I had, coach. It was 4 2/3. I hope that's okay. And I don't get that. I really don't get that. You're talking about big contracts. You're talking about guys who are getting opportunities to perform at a very high level, and knowing that you have a bullpen like that. Let me get past the middle guy. Let me get past the Nelson Figueroas. Let me get past the bridge guys. Let me give the ball to an Edwin Diaz directly. That's a formula for success. Let me give, even using Diaz, and I thought we saw something with it a little while there, that Diaz was coming in that stopper role because you had some confidence that Healthy would finish it off, right? But Diaz was coming in that stopper role, the Miller role, where he would come in the middle of the 7th inning and shut the door. You know what I mean? And then you had, there's so many ways that you could have done this, and all I've seen is the coddling of starting pitchers, other than the kids. Now that the kids have pitched all year long in the minor leagues, giving you what they've got, and they come up to the big leagues, and now you're letting the kids go 7 innings, and they're performing, but you won't push a guy like Manaea and say, I need you to find a way to not throw 60 pitches through the first 3 innings. I need you to find a way to pitch to contact and stop trying to strike out the world. Like, I get it. It looks great on paper. My strikeouts per 9, because I'm only throwing 4.5 innings, are doubled. But Jesus Christ, be the guy that gets us to the 7th inning and is able to turn it over to a guy in the 8th inning and 9th inning and get the game, won in a way that isn't pins and needles every single night. There's still time, but somebody's got to wake it up. Somebody's got to be a guy. And we've never had a guy that was an ace type pitcher. We went from the 5 aces to the 5 okay with whatever happens. And your guy who's supposed to be your ace, you have him in the minor leagues in Senga. Are we for real? You paid him to be the ace of your staff. I don't care how much you paid him. You brought him here from Japan on a 4-year deal. And as soon as DeGrom was gone, Scherzer was gone, Verlander was gone, the de facto ace was Kodai Senga. And I asked him the question in spring training, what's it like to be the ace of the staff? And he said, I'm not the ace. And I thought to myself, wow.
He doesn't have confidence. No confidence.
This guy in spring training backed away from not the limelight, but the responsibility of being the chosen one to set the example. This guy was an all-star. This guy pitched unbelievable, almost rookie of the year, because his stuff was so undeniable. The Ghost Forkball T-shirts and songs and rapping Jay Swizzy had a hit single out, all those things. And this guy has folded in such a major way, became a guy who goes out there and throws nothing but forkballs and hoping that people will swing and miss. It literally became R.A. Dickey as the forkball, knuckleball, very similar. And he's out there throwing more forkballs than he is fastballs. This guy used to throw 97 miles an hour, announce his presence with authority. And we have not seen the development. And I'm not blaming Hafner. The pitching lab is a fantastic tool. It does nothing for you during the season.
I forgot about my hit single. Goes forkball. That was a banger, actually. I need to collab with J.R. Simpson on that and put something together.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Senga, that's not a good sign that he didn't want to be the ace. Mania, listen, I've said it over and over. He's hurt. You know, the elbow thing is an issue. He's going to have surgery in the offseason. You're going to find that maybe next year he's light years better again. But, you know, I think we all loved that signing when it happened. The two signings they didn't make, like I said, Iglesias 1 year for $4 million, and Quintana 1 year for $4 million. Like, look at Quintana. He's having a much better year than most of the Mets starters. He's on a team in Milwaukee who is the best team in the National League. Oh, mind you, the Padres, the Iglesias, not having a great year. What are the Padres doing? Padres are the Mets' kryptonite. They're the second wildcard team, and they're fighting to win the division. So that has the Dodgers in it. So look at the guys you let go and look at the success they're having on those teams and maybe the presence that they have and the factor that they are playing in those locker rooms. Much more of a factor than the guys in this locker room. And you got the big boy. You got Soto. You brought back a good clubhouse guy, Mania. But Mania's not a voice. He's not really – I think he like him, but he's not a guy who's going to speak up and say, come on, guys. And he also pitched once every 6 days, and he's also sucked pitching once every 6 days. So the guy who's showing up is Soto, but Soto wouldn't be a leader, you know, anywhere. He's just not. And maybe he's created division with the money he's making. People think that, you know, he's in a different dimension than these other guys, and you know, the comments he's made, the earlier one about having Judge last year behind him, the comment he made about Marte being the true leader of the team, who's not going to be here next year, by the way. There's another issue the Mets have. Listen, Starling Marte's been okay this year, but, like, he's not a real DH, and he's 36 years old. This team was constructed so poorly in terms of the roster where, and I said this yesterday, catcher, Francisco Alvarez gets hurt every year. How did you not address catching depth in the offseason? How did you not go and get an Austin Wynns, a good backup? How did you not go get a Freddie Fermin that the Padres got? I mean, it didn't cost that much to go get one of those guys. Instead, you rolled with, hey, cool story. He worked at Whole Foods. He's going to be our backup catcher on September 11th against the Phillies. He's going to be in the lineup when we're 2 games up in the wild card. I mean, cool story and all. He can't hit. Hayden Sanger's not a big leaguer. And Luis Torrens throws guys out. I love it. He doesn't do anything else. He has an occasional hit, an occasional homer. He's been a good story. He's probably a good backup to have. But the reality is, with the amount of games Alvarez missed, you put yourself in a we're screwed scenario with 2 backup catchers and one of them who's a minor leaguer. So one's a backup, the other's a career minor leaguer. That's not what a team in New York with the biggest payroll in the sport should do. And you know, Stearns deserves blame, but it's not realistic. Do you think – you didn't answer the question, though. If they miss the playoffs, you think Mendoza does stay?
I think Mendoza stays. I think there has to be a philosophy switch at some point when they look back at this and what could they have done differently. I think Mendoza stays. I think honestly, they're going to point to the second half and, you know, whether Chavez has a job offer somewhere else or whatever may happen. If they make a switch there, I don't think you're going to be able to continue to fire people every 2 years and change staffs over every 2 years and have that continuity when you have guys that are signed to long-term contracts who are your core. You have young players who have come up and know these guys and are your core. I get it. I understand, you know, losing sucks, but you cannot just keep trying to flip it around. I mean, we know what New York is, right? We saw Tom Thibodeau go to the playoffs 4 out of 5 years and get fired for making the conference finals. Like, I get it. I get what the standard is. But, you know, to your point about the catchers and everything else, uh, the Yankees have Austin Wells. He was a rookie catcher who struggled hitting, and they knew that about him. Knew he's a good defensive catcher, but they also knew he's dealing with an injury, undisclosed injury that he has. His fingers are going numb in the whole 9 yards. And who are their backup catchers? A Uber driver and the Ben Rice, who barely plays the position. So they're rolling with it, and it seems to be working just fine. I get it. It just there's more to it than just trying to find little cracks in the dam, right? There's a bigger thing. There's a bigger thing why this thing is running the way that it is, and it's been very annoying to watch in a way that you just you cringe. You cringe every starter when they go out there. You're just looking at the pitch count rising. By the third inning, you're sitting there going, "Oh my God, I hope he makes it through 5." And I get it. It's not easy. I've done it. I've been a punching bag out there. I've been struggling on the mound, saying, "Man, I hope I figure out a way." But I've had games where it was like, you know what? I got to add an extra belt loop tighter in this thing and find a way to get through this next 2 innings. I can't go out there and trick pitch everybody into swinging at my nasty breaking stuff early in the count. Maybe I got to throw a good old fashioned 2-seam fastball that moves, and I get a ground ball. And oh, look at that! I've got defenders behind me. I let them play too. It's just been nonstop where you see them challenge the guys that they don't need to challenge, and then they put guys on that they're trying to pitch around for some reason because they're trying to strike everybody out. I don't get the philosophy. The philosophy has to change. Therefore, into which someone has to take the fall for this thing, and it's not going to be anybody up top. I don't think it's Mendoza. I think you were very comfortable with him. You were comfortable with through the midpoint, and it to me it is a questioning of is there a better way to do this than coddling these starters all the way long? You've used almost 50 freaking pitchers.
Well, I think the hitting coaches definitely go. That's why my thought is, if they're going to get rid of the hitting coaches, do they just clean house completely? I think it would be a Cohen thing. Like, I think Stearns has made it clear. He has already said, like, Mendoza's going to be the manager next year, and he said it like a month ago before this utter
Yeah.
collapse. But I'm curious if they either clean house. I think Chavez is the first guy to go. All Eric Chavez does is talk in his Instagram stories and call out people. I'm like, bro, look what after that August that they had the offense, he's like, look at us. He puts it on a story. He's like, look at me. Our offense is good. And what happens next? You get absolutely destroyed. I've lost track. 6 in a row now. So he needs to just shut his freaking mouth. Him and Barnes got to go. So I think I think we all like Hefner, but I mean, it's fascinating, this starting pitching thing. Like, from June to now, 3 months of this it's just like, again, you don't blame the coach, you always blame the player first. But again, Manaea's under contract, he's back next year. Clay Holmes under contract, he's back next year. Sanka most likely back next year. The kids, I think 2 of them probably make the opening day rotation. You still have Christian Scott, who's going to be ready to go next year. You got to think about him. Yep. And you got to think about getting someone. You can't just say, let's run it back. You have to go out and get a frontline starter, because they didn't do it last offseason. They signed Frankie fucking Montas, and now his Mets career is over before it even started. And it started all right, and it started horribly. So, I don't know. There's a lot of issues. This is Mets Daily. Smash that thumbs up on this video. Comment below. What do you think, Figgy? Do they end up making the playoffs? The lead is 1.5 now over both the Reds and Giants. They don't lead the tiebreaker over the Reds. They lead the tiebreaker over the Giants. Mind you, the Diamondbacks are back in the picture at 3 out. The Cardinals are still hanging on, just 4 out. The Mets currently with 15 to go. Do they make it or do they not?
I think they make it. I do, and I don't know the magical elixir. I don't think it's a team meeting. I don't think it's anything else. It's just it comes. They've gotten past the fear of what if what happened in Philadelphia actually happened, right? We felt like, oh my God, the way that they were playing against Philadelphia at home was amazing. Now, hey, we go into Philadelphia in 4 games, we could get at least 3 of them. We're right back in this thing, for even the division. And then all of a sudden you're sitting there and you got literally beat senseless back and forth. There was no getting up off the mat. You even came out last night swinging. You punched the bully in the mouth, 4 runs in the first. And
then a no-hitter. A no-hitter.
Yeah.
8 no-hit innings. I've never seen anything like it.
Is that good? Is that what you're looking for? Is that called, coasting?
I
Yeah,
still think
it.
they make it too. I don't know. Maybe we're just positive. Like I just think they're better than the Reds and Giants. But man, Figgy, if the Giants get in and Drew Gilbert leads the Giants to the playoffs and Cedric Mullins sits on the bench to watch it, I mean, what are we gonna say then? I mean, what are we gonna? What
Oh,
if the Giants go to playoff run? They win the World Series, and Drew Gilbert's choking people out down the canyon of whatever they have in San Francisco. I don't know what canyon of heroes they have, and they're hanging out in the Full House. You know, they got Danny Tanner, Drew Gilbert. Oh well, he died. I'm sorry. Jesse, rest in peace, our guy Danny Tanner. He's choking out Jesse and Gladstone and Joey Gladstone in the Full House. It's November 3rd. They're celebrating. I'm having nightmares thinking about it.
so I don't know if that medicine has kicked in as of yet, but I can tell you right now that is a nightmare of a scenario for the Mets. And I mean, even I think they are going to be okay. I think they're going to make it in, and maybe a squeaker. They did it last year. They had to punch their way out last year, and they found a way, right? And they didn't have Soto. I mean, Soto has put together an absolutely amazing season if you consider the fact he didn't start hitting until what, June,
Like late
right?
May, yeah, mid to late May, probably.
Late May. So May 20th, he started to hit. Before that, we're like, oh my God, buyer's remorse. This guy's terrible. And it still hasn't been Soto moments, right? I want Soto moments. Maybe this is the last 15 games where the Soto moments start to happen. Maybe, again, maybe I'm an optimist. Maybe I'm thinking, best case scenario, and I always have to. But the reality is, it doesn't have to look better. It has to be better. I don't care how you get it done. Just get it done. I don't. I'm tired of saying, like what could have been and who's playing what and where and the DH, and there's no appeasing people with 15 games left to play. You got to play your best lineup, whoever's playing the best baseball right now. There's no sitting back and saying, well, we traded for this guy, whatever we need to do. You need some kind of a jump start in a major way, and it has to start as soon as the next game.
In the in the starts, I wonder where the next game's against. Who do they face? They face my full
That's
name on my birth certificate is not this name. It's actually just Jake. Oh, Jacob, right. Jacob from Twilight, starting tonight at Citi Field. The man who hates New York. He hates New York politics. He hates New York living. He wouldn't touch a vaccine if you paid him. Jacob DeGrom. I hate to get political. On the hill tonight at Citi Field. I mean, and I don't want to hear from people, we should have never let him go. He hated New York. He didn't want to live here. Stop with that discussion. He's in Texas where he wants to be. And listen, I've joked about floating into irrelevancy, but the reality is, he won a ring. He wasn't a part of it, but he got a ring. And he's on a team in a weekend where two teams in similar boats. One of them is a game and a half up. The other is two back. But one of them's playing great. The other's playing terrible. And mind you, the Rangers, despite being two back, now have a better record than the Mets. They're 77-70. The Mets are 76-71. So this is like a playoff series weekend at Citi Field. You got DeGrom today, Old Timers Day tomorrow, and then another game Sunday. This is a tough test, and I've said on here, they need to wake up for these fans. This fan base has supported. They have a 93% capacity rate this season, a Citi Field attendance record for the history of the stadium. They have 3 million fans this season. It's probably going to be sold out this weekend, but it's going to be that dreary, dreadful feeling going in. It might be sold out, but there's a lot of people trying to get rid of their tickets now. And a week or two ago, people couldn't wait for this weekend to see
Yeah.
DeGrom, see all the old timers, Benny Agbayani, Matt Harvey, all these guys, whoever, everyone, Doc, Darryl, everyone. And now it's like, oh my, can we suit up Harvey? Like, can he start tomorrow? Like, you're in a position where you might need those old timers to play tomorrow.
Syndergaard just got released. He's still, fresh. So you have Jacob versus Jonah tonight, and
Yeah.
that's Jonah's not been bad. He's get the home run bug of throwing those fastballs, trying to throw it by major league hitters and fastball counts just isn't going to get it done.
By the
So
way,
I
that
think
sounds like a Torah. Jacob and Jonah, aren't those two members like Noah's Ark or something? Or the Torah portion, or Catholic or Jewish something?
what wouldn't you need to know that,
The Book of Eden.
loser? Book of Eden. So I Listen, it may come down to the kids. I when I was with Philadelphia in 2001, we had three rookies in the rotation. We had a rookie catcher in Johnny Estrada, and we didn't have a wild card back then. And we were in the midst of watching greatness in the Braves rattling off 12 to 14 straight division titles. And we pushed them to the limit. We finished 2 games out. If there was a wild card, we'd have got the wild card. But it was the fact that it was all hands on deck, and Larry Boa didn't care how many years you had in the big leagues. He didn't care, how much you were getting paid. He knew that the guys that were ready to go and the guys that were excited about playing and hungry about playing, it might have been some of the rookies. Jimmy Rollins, got the opportunity and never looked back. So that team reminds me a lot of how the Mets, you had superstars, you had guys that that were expected to carry the load. You had a bullpen that was locked down with Jose Mesa. So it was a lot of similarities in it. It's got to be better baseball from here on out. And you say it over and over again, and it seems like it's an easy fix. It starts with tonight. They got to find a way to get to DeGrom. That's not an easy task. When DeGrom is on, he's still one of the best pitchers in baseball. So if they can find a way to get to Jacob DeGrom and Jonathan can give him six, I think the Mets are poised to have a good first game, and they have got to set the table with that and let the rest of it carry away. Saturday's a fun day for Mets fans to have the City Field versus Shea Stadium team. That's just a fun day because it's not a real thing. This isn't like when we closed the doors of Shea Stadium and had all that pressure of making the playoffs all in the same day.
Does
So
this have any resemblance? You guys blew 3.5 in 17. You went 7-10 in your last 17 in 2008. Does it have
three and
not
six. We went three
resemblance?
and six in our last 9, so
Three
that
and
made it
6 in
even
your last
worse.
9. You would have made it. But I asked this earlier, right? But not resemblance. But was there? Can you take us inside the locker room during that stretch? Did it feel like pins and needles? Were guys quiet? Was there any rah rah speeches? What went on in the locker room?
There was literally after any loss where we kind of blew it and or we didn't hit, we didn't perform well. Guys would come in and be like, "Hey, keep your heads up. We got tomorrow. We still got tomorrow. We still got tomorrow." That kind of thing. Like we felt the whole time we were in the driver's seat. With 2 weeks left to play, we had our meeting about, "Hey, we're probably going to go to Chicago for the playoffs. The families and what do we need to do just in case the scenario? What do we want to do? Or they're going to travel with us?" And everybody was excited to have an opportunity to get to the playoffs. And yes, we wanted the families to travel with us and all those things. But
So
I
with
think
2 weeks to go, you guys were already securing playoff tickets and flights and ready to roll because you knew, I guess, you were going to play Chicago if you made it.
we felt that confident that that was what it was going to be like. If it, what was the if it ended today kind of thing. But if everything stayed status quo, if everybody went 500 the whole way out, that's where we would end up.
It feels like
And
this team's
so
booking its flight to Cabo, Cancun.
that's this is the difference is where are you booking your flights to, and where's your mental state now. Winning baseball can happen in a moment's notice, and we've seen this team score runs in bunches, and that's kind of been the Achilles heel. They've scored these exorbitant amount, and it skews everything, right? Because they'll go 3 or 4 games with scoring 2 runs or less, but then they'll have that one game where they score 12, and they score 4 runs a game. No, they don't. No, they don't. So they need to find a way to score runs, continue to tack on runs. They can't sit back on a 4-run lead. They can't sit back and just think, oh, one of these guys is going to be able to not mess it up. It's been very difficult because every single guy has found a way to blow a lead. Every single guy except for Edwin Diaz. Tyler Rogers has been great. I just that it has to look better all the way around. And I don't know what it is. There's a cohesiveness, like you said, when you're missing guys. There's glue guys. That's what we would call them. The guy's the glue. He may not be the guy that is the highest paid. He may not be the guy who's the guy that's on the mound all the time. But there are glue guys in every clubhouse that can go to both sides. They can assimilate into every group, and they keep the team together and keep the team going. When you had a guy like Iglesias who spoke Spanish, spoke English, and just was a great story, that had failed at the major league level, had success at the major league level. He was a guy that guys can come to and talk, and at the same time, he's living the dream of putting out a hit record, doing remixes with Pitbull. All the while, this team was playing winning, fun baseball. there doesn't feel that when like, can we change this? Can we
Yeah,
do
I'm
something different?
so sick of this
We've
stupid.
done that.
And by the
We've
way, no,
done that since
you
day
you
one.
want to know what's a telling sign of how non close knit? None of them do it the same. Like Soda just goes like this. Alonso does this. McNeil's awkward. Marte just goes this. Like they don't even on the one thing they're supposed to be close on. They all do
They're
it
sick.
different.
They're sick of doing it because it's like it seems so empty now, right? Because it's not as
This
cool
is
as
what
it
they're
once
doing.
was.
Poo, poo, punch the Met fan in the face. Poo, loser, loser, loser. It's like whack a Jake, whack a Met fan. That's what it's become.
Well, the bottom line is this: this is the series that
Ugh.
they have to find a way to win, and they're going. The young guns are 1, 2, and 3 in this thing. So let's see if they can perform up to a level of expectations that they have for themselves, not for what the team has, not for what the fans have, but the level of expectation they have for themselves. This is where that kid inside, that inner kid, says, "This is the backyard. This is what I wanted. This is what I dreamt my whole life. Is that I'm pitching against Jacob deGrom." Right? Treat it like it's freaking the seventh game of the World Series. Treat it like I'm going out there to show that what I can do. This team has never faced me before. They don't know me from a hole in the wall. I don't care what spin rates say. I don't care what tendencies say on a piece of paper. Go out there and pitch to the best of your abilities. And if their catchers can harness that, man, and they can do it, those 3 kids have plus stuff that can really be so exciting and electrifying that the fans should feed off of that. And hopefully they score enough runs to win each and every game.
Yeah, well, there's no glue guys in this locker room. It's just guys that want to make you sniff glue. That's what Mets fans are about to be doing. Bleach and glue. Scan this code, become Mets Daily Insider, $5 a month. Follow me at Jake Brown Live. Smash that thumbs up. Follow Figgy at Figgy and Why. Catch him on New York Sports Nation nightly, 7 p.m. weekdays on Pix 11. DeGrom tonight, Old Timers Day tomorrow. Tom versus DeGrom is fun. It would be more fun if the team had lost 6 in a row. But yeah, you're right, kicking into gear. And just my worry is Mendoza's not that guy. And I don't think he really deserves to be fired. But the reality is when the going gets tough, does he have anything to give to this team? And maybe he makes a speech in the clubhouse after the game. We don't know. But his message is the same to the media every night. And I'd like him to show some fire and anger. And I'm not saying he's got to be Terry Collins, but this is a guy who's never done this. And last year, he faced some adversity early on. And then after that, he didn't because Iglesias saved their season. And there was no adversity because the team was scorching hot. They were coming back. They weren't 0-64 when trailing after 8 innings because they found ways to win in the 9th inning. That stat alone also tells you how this team has had zero heart. And I hope they wake up, but I think there's going to be stuff that comes out in the offseason about guys that didn't get along. Someone's going to spill something to a reporter. Who knows which one? Maybe someone at my old employer. Who knows? I'm sure one of them will get a quote and put it out there, and it'll be a headline. But something will come out because this team does not like each other. I guess we'll end it on that note, Figgy. It's been 35 minutes. I'm sure
We
you
like
think
each other still, right?
yeah, we still like each other. We're glue guys. The Mets may not have glue guys, but we're glue guys when it
There
comes
you
to
go.
talking about the Mets. Anyone tomorrow you're kind of looking forward to? You're not going. It doesn't look like I'm going to go now. I've just been sick the last few days, and I don't want to go up and get sicker, and the Mets will just make me sicker in person. Some of the names, John Neese and Mike Pelfrey there I find pretty intriguing. Dylan G, John Maine, Rick Reed going to be there. Team Shea, Franco, Hampton, Leiter, Maine, Reed, Wendell. Team City, Bartolo, R.A. Dickey, Dylan G, Matt Harvey, John Neese, Mike Pelfrey, Yohan Santana. Those are the pitchers. The managers are Terry and Jerry Manuel for City Field, Willie Randolph and Bobby V for Shea. The catchers are Leduc and Piazza for Shea, Plawecki and Tolley for City Field. Man, City Field really got the short end of the stick on those catchers. Infielders, and also speaks to my point on the Mets since Piazza left have just failed to address catching position. Infielders for Shea, Figgy are Fonzie, Delgado, Super Joe, McEwing, Ray Ordonez, Jose Reyes, Todd Zeal. Love that infield. City Field, the Hebrew Hammer / Scarlet Fever, Ike Davis, Asdrubal Cabrera, Kelly Johnson, Josh Satin, Ruben Todd. Oh, my God. In terms of talent.
Josh Satin is the one that I'm like, huh?
Oh, that's just because I guess he broadcasted some games with SNY. I mean, Shea is, if you didn't look at age and just look at talent, Shea would be the Phillies this week. City Field would be the Mets this week.
I'm giving to the nod to the guys who are in walkers right now, right?
Here's outfield: Benny Agmani, Beltran, Endy, Jay Payton. Love that for Shea. City, Lagares, Kirk Neuenhuis, Curtis Granderson, and Mike
Captain Kirk.
Baxter.
Say it right.
Mike Baxter. What do you think of those rosters?
Yeah, Baxter for one catch. Satin for I don't know. Um, I think obviously the big names. It's great to see the big names from the Shea Stadium team. Pedro being involved as well. There's just it's fun. I got to live out a dream of playing for the team. I got an even bigger reality of getting to know these guys and do fantasy camps with these guys and do games and do the alumni day with them, the amazing day with them. So getting to see those guys all over again, it brings back a lot of memories of my plight to get up to the big leagues and being with those guys. And then like Franco, I've known forever and, rooted for these guys while I was watching them on TV. And remember the Newsday commercial of Franco throwing to a box on a wall. I was the same kid in Brooklyn doing the same thing. The City Field kids they were kids when I was the old guy. So I had a bunch of them with me in AAA, all the Jonathan Neese, the Dylan G. Pelfrey when I first came up there with the Mets, and John Maine. John Maine still to this day is one of my favorite people on the planet because of what happened with me with the rah moment. He hit the first batter the next day of the Nationals because of it. And I immediately texted him and let him know if he ever needed anybody at any point in his life because he had my back. And that was always a special moment for me. I think it's just gonna be a fun atmosphere to see all these guys, the collective, alumni, amazing day kind of, gave you that because without the game, this game is not going to be any kind of fun. It was painful to watch last time when they did the old timers because seeing these guys move around, they haven't done it quite some time. And even, it's the thing like pop-ups and everything, it gets a little embarrassing when you haven't done it literally in 20 some odd years.
Well,
30 some odd years.
They didn't play last year. We went in 2023. Did they not? Did they play a game last year?
They not last year. The first one they played. Remember, because that Edgardo Alfonso hit the ball in the gap, and Andy Chavez tracked it down.
They did nothing last year. That's right. Last year they just didn't do it.
They did nothing last year.
Right.
They did nothing last year because, like I said, the baseball element of it. Guys didn't want to play because they didn't want to get hurt.
Yeah.
You're talking about debilitating injuries.
Mariano Rivera.
There was an 80. The Mets had an 81-year-old pitcher out there, trying to reach home plate, and it was great to see. I loved it, but it's not a competitive game. It's not oh my god, I can't wait to see them take them on.
Listen,
Like you would rather put that. I would rather put that in a simulation to see what would happen with these two teams at their primes.
I'll take an 81-year-old Ephus over a Ryan Stanek fastball right now, any day of the week. The way it's going over Reed Garrett. I'm sorry.
As long as it's a strike and not putting him behind.
Get Garrett, Stanek, and Helsley on a one-way ticket to the moon. Send them out of town. The fact Stanek's wife's bread must be so incredible they just can't cut him because everyone likes her bread so much that she cooks for the team. Like, I got to try this bread at this point because why is he still here? It's unbelievable. Anyway, it should be fun tomorrow. A 3-inning game starts at 2 p.m. If you're going, make sure you're there by 2:00, and if you're not going, watch it on TV. Figgy, thank you so much for coming on. Let's go Mets. The time is now. It starts tonight against Jacob deGrom to turn it around. Let's hope. Let's take this loser hat off for now, and say let's go Mets.
Let's hope the Tong song is playing tonight.
Tong. No tongs for this video. See you tomorrow. See you next week. Whatever. I've lost track. Bye. I'm Mr. Matt looking like this now. Bye.